Hello there and welcome to the Lead Gen Site Profits training series. And today what we're going to talk about is the why and how of LGS site success. And LGS just stands for Lead Gen Site. And what's happened is there was a challenge that was presented. I mean, we can call it a challenge, a problem, an obstacle, whatever we want to call it, that was presented to one of our customers. And she sent me an email. And let me just read the email to you. It said, what are the conversions of the LGS sites? The reason I ask is a couple prospects have questioned how effective the site will be for conversion, and I have nothing to give them as a response. The questions I have received are the people who download the report mostly tire kickers or in the early stage of hiring a contractor and not yet ready to buy services? And I thought to myself when I answered her, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to create a video so we can all learn from this, because my guess is many of you that use our lead gen sites probably come across questions like this, and I want you to be able to know how to overcome these obstacles, because to me it really boils down to the short-sightedness of the client, because the people that our tire kickers are in the early stage of hiring is really most of the people out there, and I'm going to explain that to you because it's through a process called the customer buying line, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But the first thing I want to talk about are the conversions, and usually when they ask questions like that, it's simply more along the lines of a stall. And you know, when we talk about conversions, there's a few really important things you need to remember. First of all, each and every single niche is different. Okay, every industry is going to be different. Nothing's going to be the same. And so just to simply give them, 10% or 20% or whatever is really unfair to not only them, but it's also unfair to you, because it kind of pigeonholes you in to a area that if it exceeds it, well, then maybe you're not getting as much money as you should be for either whether you're renting the site or selling the site or whatever. And then if it's lower, then you're kind of in a bad position with the customer, because they're going to be upset with you that it wasn't as high as what you said. So in each and every local market is different as well. I mean, my conversions here in my local market could be completely different than they are for yours. It just depends. Everything is different. And some markets, to be honest with you, can convert at over 80% with pay-per-click traffic. And what that means is meaning opt-ins and direct calls. Okay, so both of them combined. And we're going to go over the LGS site, the theme of where those two come into play. But basically, I got a call from a customer of ours that said that they put up a website, contacted one of their clients, drove some pay-per-click traffic to it, and their phone blew up, and the customer was absolutely ecstatic. And how they knew that it was at over 80% calls was because they were able to track the phone number that they put on the website. And we'll get into that here in a minute. I don't want to go too far ahead of myself. But it is very important that you understand, because the FTC requires me to say that I am not saying that you will convert at that same rate. Chances are you absolutely will not. But I need to say that whenever we have, we use facts or figures or whatever, we need to make sure that we say that is not what most people do. In fact, most people don't even use our lead gen sites after they buy them, and it drives me insane, but whatever. But the most important thing is for your local market and your local niches that you're working with, you need to really test and build your own stats, because then you'll have confidence and you'll be able to explain things much better than me or somebody else just giving you a number. Okay, so it is important to do that, and you can do your own tests. There's no reason why you can't do that. So what I want to talk to you about, the core of this video really is a two-part solution. First of all, I want to talk to you about the customer buying line, because this will give you a direct response to your customers when they say, well, do most people come kicking the tires and download the report, or are they just tire kickers not ready to buy? And I'll explain to you why they're so short-sighted with that. And then the second part is the 7 critical elements of the LGS theme. There's 7 elements of a lead generation site that it must have, and we're going to go over each single one of those so you have a very clear understanding of how it all works. But the first thing is let's talk about the customer buying line. Really, this is how customers decide to buy, and this is really no matter what they're buying for the most part. Okay, it could be anything, and there's a line, and it goes from 1 to 100. Okay, and the 100 area is where customers don't really care about anything. You will be the first one that they see, and then they want to buy, like, or for an example, like a locksmith type scenario. If you're locked out of your car and it's in a blizzard and you need to get in your car so you can get home, you're going to call the first locksmith that you find because you're in that area. Okay, but on the other side of the spectrum is this area are people that will never buy from you for whatever reason. They may have a brother-in-law in the business, and so they're never going to go outside to look for anybody else to do whatever they need done, whatever industry it is. And again, the other side is the people that are so far to the right side of this buying line that they don't need a lot of more information. Now, we can argue the percentages here, okay? And from my experience on the customer buying line, to the far right is less than 5% of people are in that realm. Okay, but let's just say it's 10% for argument's sake, and let's say that 10% of people will never buy from you. Okay, so what that does is that leaves you with a big, huge gap in the middle, is where 80% of your customers are, and I say your customers, meaning your client's customers. That's where they reside. They need more information, and they want more information before making a decision. And so that's why I say clients or prospects that say, well, are they all just tire kickers that download the free report? Well, they're not tire kickers necessarily. I mean, I think that's just a negative term, but what they are people that need more information before they make a decision. And so why not provide them that information so that they can gain trust and credibility with you, and you can be the go-to expert. And again, when I say you, I am talking about your clients. Now, on the far side there, the 90 to the 100 range, that is where everybody does their marketing. They are all searching for those people that need the information right then and there. Okay, and that's why you see the coupon books and the flyers with coupons and discounts and all those things. Those are to try and grab those very few people that are ready to make a decision right then and there. Okay, and that's why they are missing a huge opportunity with, sorry for that was a little over dramatic, but a huge opportunity with those other 80%. And again, I think it's more than 80%, but we're just going to use round numbers. Okay, so with all that being said, so how do we do that? And you already know this answer. We provide them with free, high-value content information that will help educate them and help them make a decision by giving them a free report, or giving them a free CD or a downloadable audio, or giving them a free video or a DVD. And everything is geared around helping educate the buyer to make an educated decision, one that will build your client as the trusted advisor, the go-to expert for that decision that they're trying to make. Okay, now that is the customer buying line, and I went pretty fast, and so I hope it makes sense. But that is why it just drives me nuts when clients are like, well, I want everybody that is already ready to make a decision. Well, that's great and dandy, but what about everybody else that isn't ready to make a decision, but they're on that buying line somewhere, that they know they need a new fence because theirs is falling down in the backyard, and they know they need a new fence, but they're not in that final 10% where they need to make that decision right now. They need more information. They want to know all the nuances of working with a fence company and what they need to know, and how to maybe what the things to look for to make sure that they're getting the right fence company to work for them, and those type of things. I can go on and on. But so that's the customer buying line. I hope that helps you understand how that works and why it's so important, and what to stress to your client if you get those questions about, well, are they just tire kickers? Holy moly. Okay, so now to the 7 critical key elements in the LGS theme, and really why it works so well is twofold, but it helps with the people on all spectrums of the customer buying line. And for the ones that you can satisfy, the customers that you can satisfy when they say, well, what about the people that are ready to buy right now, that final 10%? Well, here's the best thing about it is, with the new LGS theme, we have the phone number right there up at the top. And that's, you can have something like, call for immediate assistance, where it has the number. And that's where the customer that contacted me said that they put a trackable number up there, one that they only used for this website, for this test that they did the pay-per-click traffic on. That's how they knew that it was driving driving leads to this business, because it was a very special number. And we're not going to get into how to get all the special numbers and the unique numbers. I mean, it's really expensive to do nowadays, but that's for another video. But then, the second element is a relatable headline with a call to action. Now, this starts to get into the people that are in that 80% of that customer buying line. And it also helps build credibility with that other 10%. But the main focus of this is really for the people that need more information. And the third element is having a very powerful pre-sales video. Now again, this also pre-sells them on the idea of downloading the free report. However, it also builds credibility with the customers that are on that far right hand side of the buying line, that 10%, that when they watch that video, it immediately builds credibility for them. It immediately shows them that the company is a trustworthy company, and then they call that number. Okay, so it covers both of those spectrums. And then also you need, of course, is an opt-in form to generate leads for the people that want more information, or the people that need more information before they make their decision. And then the fifth element is basically just the text description of what they're getting, because not everybody will watch the video. So you want to make sure that you have the text description of what they're going to get if they offer to or if they elect to put in their contact information and download the free report. And again, it also builds credibility for that final 10%. And then of course you need a high quality image of whatever you're giving away, whether it's a report, CD, DVD, or an online audio, online video, whatever. And then the sixth element is the footer menu with blog and the legal information. Now, this type of stuff is more, well, it kind of covers two things. One, it covers that it looks more like a legitimate site and not just a lead gen site, because it has a blog, a contact us page. You should be putting an about us page there, and then also the privacy policy, terms of service, and all those type of things. And then it also helps with the search engines realize that it is an actual credible site. And what you should encourage your clients to do is always continually add blog posts and different things, again, all based around useful information to help the consumer make an educated decision. And then the seventh element is the footer area. And really what you should be doing in this footer area is to include the name, address, and phone number of that local business. Again, the search engines look for that type of stuff for local businesses, to have their name and address and a phone number on the front page. You can include an email too, but the reason you don't need to include an email is because we want phone calls to the business. We don't want necessarily emails, and emails aren't bad, but we want the people that are in that 10%, we want them sending or giving a phone call instead of sending an email. Okay, so these are the 7 critical elements, and inside the LGS theme, inside the the admin area inside of WordPress, you get to customize all this stuff exactly for your client, whether it's the changing the colors of it, or obviously changing their information to their their local keywords, their local city or town or whatever that they live in, and those type of things. Okay, so a couple more things I want to go over are some best practices so you have a clear understanding of really how to utilize these LGS themes. First of all, whatever you can do, avoid promising conversion rates, because it's just going to cause problems, because you don't want to guarantee anything. And even if you tell them you're not guaranteeing anything, if you tell them you're going to get 10% conversion, first of all, what is a conversion? Does that mean 10% phone calls, or 10% people opting in, or a combination of both, or whatever? There's just a lot of too many obstacles that you may have to overcome later. At best, just give them a range and explain exactly how each market is different. The next thing is to explain the customer buying line and the importance of using the conversion tools, the reports, the CD, the DVD, whatever. And because once you explain the customer buying line, they will realize that they are missing out on a ton of business, because all they're doing is focusing on that 10%. And you'll be able to almost immediately identify that they're focusing on that 10% by analyzing and going through with them their current marketing efforts. Okay, and the conversion tools too. Ultimately, we provide in our LGS themes with each package a pre-written report, and these reports are very, very good. To make them better is to interview your client and customize that report a little bit more, okay? Because they may do things a little bit differently, or have certain unique differences that they provide that others don't, that they would want included in there, that would add even more benefit. Okay. Now the next thing is to explain the 7 critical elements of the LGS theme and why it's important to them. Exactly everything that I just went over, you can explain that to them and show them, and that all this stuff is going to convince them how powerful these lead gen sites are. The next thing you need to do is test pay-per-click traffic and generate your own stats for your local market. And again, the best way to do that is to use a trackable phone number. And you may be saying, oh my God, I got to test that myself. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? This is a business. You got to view it as a business. Not everything can be done for free. The best way to generate leads for these lead gen sites is using pay-per-click advertising. The best way to do it is not to do local SEO. Local SEO, first of all, takes a very long time to do. And local SEO, even if your site is way up high, the conversions are not as good as with pay-per-click. It's just the way it is. I can't explain it. I don't know the reason. Maybe somebody else does. I don't know. But that's just the way it is. And with the way that the search engines are pushing the organic searches lower and lower and lower in the results, it just makes sense to use pay-per-click advertising. It's just a better way to do it. Now finally, you really need to stress the importance of viewing this as another tool, viewing the lead gen site as another tool in their marketing tool chest. Okay, it should not, these LGS sites should complement what they're already doing. It should not replace their current lead gen efforts. To me, that is the best way to approach it, because it relieves the pressure on both sides. Because you're not going into them as a consultant saying, hey man, use these lead gen sites and all your worries are over. We'll be able to produce a ton of leads for you. You don't have to worry about anything ever again. That puts way too much pressure on you, and it also puts pressure on the business owner, because they may already have things in place that they are doing that they don't want to stop doing. And the best way to sell these and rent these sites out is to view it as a complement to everything else they're already doing. You don't need to replace what you're already doing. This is just a complement and help bring in more leads. Okay, so that is the best practices. And a couple next steps here. First of all, ask your questions below. If you have questions and would like me to answer it via a training video like this, go ahead and ask them below. If you're coming up against things that your customers are asking, let's talk about them. And then the next thing is get your free lead gen site at leadgensiteprofits.com, and we'll give you a free, fully functional, complete PLR package that you can use to sell to a client right now. So thanks for watching, and I wish you nothing but the best, and take care.